After a busy weekend in Budapest, it's time to head to Spa. So, will we have a relaxing weekend or is it going to be more F1 fantasy chaos? Let's check it out with some early team selection. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position. It is Tuesday, July 23rd. My name is Ewan, and on today's episode, I'm going to get into some early team selection for the Belgian Grand Prix, which is happening this weekend. 4 episodes this week. I did a Hungarian Grand Prix review episode yesterday. Today is early team selection. Tomorrow is green flag, yellow flag, red flag. And Thursday will be the race preview with my final team selection thoughts. So make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the podcast, wherever you are watching, listening. That way you don't miss a single episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position content. But we're just going to get right into it here. We're going to keep this episode a little bit snappy this week because there's only a week. So 4 episodes, 4 days. It's going to be kind of hectic around here. So here we go with some team selection. Here's my original T1 squad. This is what I had in Budapest here. So Lando, George, Logan, Zhou Guanyu, and Nico Hülkenberg. And first option right off the bat here is I think McLaren and Mercedes are going to be the 2 strongest constructors here. So do absolutely nothing. Let it roll into the summer break. Just hands off this weekend. Lando, George, going to be good. I believe the Haas will go a lot better around this track, and we will get lots of fantasy points from there. However, that is a little bit boring. So if I don't want to do that, there are some options I have here. I think I'm going to have to be stuck with these 2 bottom of the barrel assets unless I activate the wild card, which I'm not entirely ready to do that either, just because I would like there to be a huge change, not just to get out of some trouble here. And Logan has not scored negative points in 5 of the last 6 races. So great job by him. And Zhou Guanyu is, he's okay too. He's had a couple of spikes here. Hasn't been awful. Just keeps dropping in budget, these 2 guys. But I got 0.9 in the bank. So if I want to just do 1 transfer here, I can move up to like a Yuki Tsunoda, a Pierre Gasly, or drop down to an Alexander Albon. But that's not super inspiring. So the other option I have, 2 free transfers this week. So not a lot of flexibility. Let me know in the comments below. Do you have 2 free transfers? Do you have 3 free transfers? How much budget do you have? Are you planning to activate the wild card? Let me know in the comments and I will reply because I love kind of just talking about F1 fantasy, as you can see with the 4 episodes that are coming out on the channel this week. So the other option here is to kind of flip the McLarens and then I can bring in Oscar. And that leaves me with enough budget to get in Red Bull. Now, that is scary because I'm not really maximizing like Max's value. If he takes that engine penalty, I will get some of his points, but like there could be some fastest laps. I mean, get some of those points, but drive of the day, all that kind of stuff. So, and then I'm kind of relying on Sergio to have a good weekend as well. And while he did improve in Hungary, showed a little bit of pace on Sunday, still not ready to go there, especially with Red Bull's struggles. I believe McLaren has the fastest car on the grid right now around Spa. That should perform quite well, especially if we're going to get cooler temperatures, which we will touch on in the race preview episodes in a couple of days. So definitely check that out as well. But this is one option I have here. So just kind of bring in Oscar. He's the hot young driver. He's going to keep riding. Just went up $1 million. So it costs a little bit more than it would have last week. And bring in Red Bull. That's if Red Bull looks good. However, we don't really think that's going to happen, do we? So if I leave Lando in here and I bring the McLaren back in, another option is George. Bring him down. And then that would leave me here if I can bring in, this is where it kind of starts to get into -10 territory, wildcard territory. If I got rid of George, I'd have 16 million left over. And I talked about this in my Hungary Grand Prix preview episode that Sergio might be done with Red Bull after this weekend. So is it time for Daniel Ricciardo to come in? And then the 5.2 million I have here is enough to get me out of Dodge with one of these assets. I could go up to an Albon if Williams kind of keeps their steady rise here. Or right, they just looked a little bit better in recent weeks. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or not about my assessment of Williams. I feel like they're heading in the right direction. Spa, a faster track. Williams should do better here. So these are kind of the options here. This could be like a wild card configuration going on. So that'd be 3 free transfers. It's only a -10, but it does get me Red Bull, Daniel Ricciardo. It could pay off, but no max here either. So I think for right now, I'm just leaning towards letting it roll. The only thing I can think of is maybe I downgrade Nico to Alex because I do think Williams is going to have a pretty good weekend here. So bring Mercedes back in. I don't believe Ferrari is going to have a good weekend. But I think George here is worth it. And then that leaves me with 6 million, unfortunately. So I have to go with Logan. So I might just be letting it roll a little bit, possibly downgrading Nico to Alex if things look good. But for my T1 team, that is how it is looking with 119 million in the bank. However, I know some of y'all have a little bit of a bigger budget than I do with my T1 squad, and that is the same boat as my T3 team, which is 125.9 million in the bank here. So over here, let me, there we go. Perfect. So I've got this squad. Looks all right, but the real advantage here is I have 3 free transfers heading into Spa. So I can really switch things up. The problem is to get to Oscar, and that's my priority, I think, on Tuesday, is that I want to get to the triple McLaren. Seems like I'm kind of going from a place of strength and that sort of thing. So to get Oscar in, I need to create 2 million in budget. And unfortunately, if I get rid of Yuki or Pierre, I will have to go down to one of the Sauber or Logan Sargent again. And last week I was talking about how you may as well just go down all the way down to Sargent. So if I do that, like I've been talking about here, let's sort by value. Logan leaves me 25.9 million in the bank, which gives me access to pretty much everyone bar Max. So Oscar in there leaves me 2.6 in the bank, which is enough to kind of get Yuki up to Daniel, but this is kind of a solid just using 2 moves, banking another one into the summer break where potentially Daniel Ricciardo could take over Sergio Perez's seat, like we were mentioning earlier. I could do that transfer right now and have the 3 free transfers, but it also just depends on Friday practice, Friday data, who's looking strong. It's going to be a higher speed track, similar-ish to Silverstone, where Yuki did have 7 points. Daniel had 6. They looked a lot better in Hungary, which is a slower track, but they didn't score as many F1 fantasy points, unfortunately, due to a kind of sluggish start from Ricardo there. Nico all the way up as well to his teammate, Kevin Magnussen, who continues to rise and rise and rise. But that just feels like a little bit of a sideways move for me. I still believe in Nico. I still think he's driving in K-Mag, but K-Mag is just having a better Sunday performance. So I mentioned on yesterday's episode that I need to I've kind of overlooked Kevin Magnussen, and I maybe need to do a better job of getting him in. So that is a possibility as well. But triple McLaren, if you have the budget, seems like a very luxurious move. It's going to get you a ton of points. They should go really well around Spa here as well. So if you have that kind of budget, I certainly don't mind prioritizing the papaya in Belgium. But that will do it for early team selection. Like I said, it was going to be short and snappy as there are 4 episodes coming out on the channel this week. This is episode 2 of 4. So make sure you check out yesterday's race review if you just want to go back over what happened at the Hungaroring in Budapest before diving all the way in to some Spa content. Tomorrow will be green flag, yellow flag, red flag, where we'll talk about 5 drivers that we should buy, sell, or hold in F1 fantasy. And then Thursday will be the big show, race preview, and final team selection before practice starts on Friday. Once again, thanks for all the support. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the podcast. Really appreciate any support. Love all the comments. Love responding to them. Love talking F1 fantasy. But once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I will talk to you next time.